Thank you all and for the invitation. I'll just make some brief overview remarks. And this is an odd circumstance in that we have so many inquiries from the community and so many people planning, but we have very few Afghans here in our community. And of course, we had some extended family members that Barbara's referred to, 16 who were evacuated by a family member who was SIV, who'd served the U.S. mission there, and they didn't stay on the military bases where Afghans are being processed, and hence needed some more support and medical care. And but they're here and safe, and we have a church that's also who co-sponsored the original family member who we were settled 3 years ago, who's assisting them, but the family's doing well. I do want to say that your planning and all your efforts there's going to be a very significant need. We do have KRM. We have 3 staff members, 2 from our Louisville office, 1 from Lexington, who are deployed on the bases helping with the processing. And those bases, there were originally 4, but they've surpassed capacity. Now there are Afghans being processed on 8 military bases. The State Department asked the Refugee Resettlement Network nationally to assist in welcoming 50,000 Afghans. Now estimates are veering more towards 75,000, being stateside, going through processing, or en route through some overseas transit and screening hubs where they are getting security screenings and some other sort of pre-arrival processing. So very large numbers. As you can imagine, some shell shock and disorientation just through going through the harrowing experience of getting out of Afghanistan, and the conditions on the bases are rather basic. So we're just hearing some preliminary reports that people are arriving with some need. Sorry, pardon me here. And I think has been made clear to most of you all, this is an emergency evacuation. The resettlement agencies, KRM and Catholic Charities, we're assisting them outside of the refugee program due to their humanitarian parolee status. They're not eligible for the refugee program and the benefits and some other federal cash assistance and medical assistance that's provided to our other clients. So there's sort of a makeshift initial 90-day reception program with some bare bones funding and core services that we've been asked to implement. But it's hard, it's kind of not nearly as robust and comprehensive as what we normally do, and hence even kind of more urgent appeals to you in the community to assist, be it through co-sponsorship, welcome teams, individual assistance, or in the case of our Muslim American medical doctors, pro bono medical services, interpreter services, jobs, housing. We've pledged to resettle 200 Afghans in Louisville, but I want you to keep in mind that collectively, given the lack of provision through the program, resettlement agencies didn't pledged to resettle some 37,000 out of the 50,000 that were estimated to come. And now it appears they're considerably more than 50,000. So it's going to be some pretty significant numbers of some traumatized people. And I think we're going to see a mix of people. A lot of you are familiar with the interpreters or others who provided direct professional support as project managers, computer programmers who've worked in US government or other organizations in Afghanistan, highly skilled. There are some of those who didn't complete their SIV processing, who were evacuated under humanitarian parole. There are some of their family members. And then there are other individuals. So I don't have a lot to share in terms of demographics, like how many large families, how many children are on the bases, kind of what the overall profile, but we're expecting a mix of people, but with a heavy component of US affiliated Afghans. So I think the general sense that these people made some sacrifices on behalf of our country, I think is going to, by and large, hold true for a good number. And then those, I think everybody who was evacuated had some, as we saw, kind of legitimate humanitarian need for protection. And there is a lot of targeting going on, a lot of reprisals. Like our clients who we resettled are hearing that from family members. So many people are hiding in Afghanistan. There's certainly a lot of fear there. So I think this is a large group of people in significant need. And then, as you've heard, next year, I think Afghans outside the country who weren't evacuated will have significant access to the refugee program. So this is just, this will continue for into next year and perhaps for an extended period. So we were told, your question, when are we going to receive Afghans? We were told this week the first allocations to resettlement agencies would occur. We haven't gotten any cases yet. Our Lexington office received one case. The initial cases are being allocated, like a majority of them are being sent to join US ties. Like 90%, 10% are being sent who don't have family members here. We have a decent sized Afghan community in Louisville, not huge, and Assad can maybe speak more on that, but we're also hearing that there are a good number of Afghans on the bases who don't have family, and they are going to be asked to go to different cities such as Louisville, Lexington. We're opening an office in Northern Kentucky. Go to places where they'll just have us. They'll just have community members and resettlement agencies to welcome them. So I've heard 2,000 to 3,000 will be flown to resettlement sites a week. Honestly, I'm not sure, if you do the math, how they're going to keep people on the bases for 4 to 6 months where the conditions are not good. But so far we haven't, aside from our initial group of 16, we haven't had people who've left the base and come here and walked in and requested services. So we'll see how long it goes and how many come at one time. But I think it's going to start in the next week or two. We're going to start receiving in Louisville some very significant numbers of Afghans. So.
Barbara, can I ask a couple follow-up questions?
Sure, please. Yeah, it's a conversation. Folks feel
okay.
free
Well, I
to
know
chip in.
Maha you said Maha would talk, so I didn't want to go out of turn. So I just wanted to try to clarify the 200 that I know that you said that you think we're getting here. Is that a combination of SIV and the asylum seekers, or are we like? Do you have any idea like what the breakup might be, or you don't have that information yet?
It's a good question. Those 200, technically humanitarian parolees, that's in addition to a smaller number of SIVs. Like, we've resettled 140 SIVs in the past 5 years. They've always been eligible for the refugee program. We received a family of 4 about 2 weeks ago, SIV status. So they're well provided for in our program, and they have a community co-sponsor. But those, and we have some SIV cases en route here joining family, but the larger number will not have SIV status, will be those 200 asylum seekers or Afghan humanitarian parolees.
And then,
John,
I'm sorry, you go, Barbara. Thank you.
No, go ahead, Beth.
It's good, I'll wait.
No, please go ahead. Go ahead, Beth. I know you have a holiest day tomorrow and you need to prepare for it. So please.
Thank you. I understand that the I hate the word parolees, but I'll use that term. Yes. The asylum seekers, because it sounds like they just got out of jail, like they've done something wrong, which
Indeed,
they haven't.
Yes, indeed.
But so I know that like they don't get all the benefits, like so how long? The basic benefits that they get, I know you mentioned 90 days. Do their benefits stop after 90 days? Or like how long will they get some assistance, even though it's less than refugee assistance?
To be precise, the clients receive $1,225 per person, and that's passed through by us, and so we're using that customarily for rent, security deposit, food, utilities, initial support, and we anticipate that'll last about 3 months or so. So that's sort of a one-time reception stipend that they receive, and I can add there is, I don't know how to handicap it, but there is some legislation. I've heard it's attached to this continuing resolution and the budget. There is some legislation, primarily Democratic sponsorship, but hopefully that gets bipartisan support, to have these humanitarian evacuees, make them eligible for the refugee program.
And distended.
So
gallbladder with cholelithiasis.
Yeah, we're hopeful that passes fairly soon, like around the end of the fiscal year.
Okay, thank you. I'm done, Barbara. Your turn.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi Beth. So it seems like that a vast majority of our fellow brothers and sisters, they will need a lot of assistance from this fellow from the private citizens. So I think, John, do you guys have any database for local churches and synagogues and mosques, or people that who have stepped forward and contacted you to be co-sponsors?
We do. We have a pretty elaborate kind of master, spreadsheet, all the cases that, as they come in, and, separately, all the community members and what sort of assistance they've pledged. Some want to do a full co-sponsorship, some a welcome team, some have jobs, some have housing, some want to donate, furniture, household items. So yeah, we are tracking all that, and then we'll match them as the cases come in.
Okay, thank you. Asad, I think you wanted to say something.
Well, one thing is, of course, I know all this too well because my family immigrated when the Russians invaded Afghanistan in '82 to the US. Of course, we lived in Pakistan in refugee camps, and then it took us about 2 years to get here. And when we got here, there was no one to help us with translating. There was a gentleman from Iran that had volunteered for the refugees, the Presbyterian refugee folks that were able to help. So I know where that's coming from. The other thing that I have also, I have family in Afghanistan right now that's one of them was brutally uh, uh, brutally abused by the Taliban, which they're in hiding now because they found some U.S. My contacts and any texts that I had sent them and everything. But to get a better idea is that a lot of these folks have this perception that, and we need to make sure that we as translators drill it, that this is a community effort, that there is no money coming in and there's no money allocated, because a lot of them have the perception of the white picket fence and the fancy home. So we need to just, as a translator, say, look, this is the great generosity of the people of Louisville and different citizens that have stepped forward to work on helping everybody. So once they get that in their mindset, then there'll be a lot more understanding and appreciate everything that they're given. So that's one thing that I would drive home with most of the folks that are coming in, because a lot of them are coming in, like it said, they're traumatized, and they're coming into a new area and seeing basically a new living standards that they're not used to. So the simple of getting them acclimated and getting them be comfortable with people is my objective as a translator, and having them understand that, what is being done is totally on the generosity of everybody in Louisville, and whether it's Muslim community, Christian community, we're all one team working together to help them out.
Well said. I mean, important points. And
Yeah. So friends, feel free to chip in if anybody else have a question, any comment.
I just want to say, first of all, Assad, I appreciate what you said, and your experience was clearly full years ago, and I think that I just wanted to say that the Jewish community, you might have said it, I might have missed it, but the Jewish community is also going to be involved in helping. We've already started the process to try to raise money as well.
Oh yes, I've worked with the Jewish community on different projects. It's example when we were putting out the TV devices for the elderly in Louisville. So I'm pretty well versed with the Jewish community, Christian community, some Buddhist communities. So pretty much Louisville's a cosmopolitan of all faiths that work together for the betterment of society. So to me, it doesn't matter what walk of life you are. In fact, one of my best friends I joke around, he's from New York and he's Jewish. And his mother goes, how do you two get along? I said, well, we put our differences aside and look for the similar bridge to build.
Nice.
yeah, if
Nice.
I could add one thing, and Assad, you can kind of modify this, but we at KRM, we only have maybe 3, 4, 5 kind of both Dari, Pashto interpreters that we've been using, because we haven't received big numbers of Afghans. So we're hopeful. I mean, there are some very high caliber, well-educated, professional, people among the evacuees. So, even among this first group, there are some people that we would like to enlist, to help with future evacuees, as interpreters and, those who are assisted first. And I think there's, given that there's not a lot of agency or government support for these evacuees currently, and we're going to be receiving Afghans in Louisville for perhaps many years to come, I think there's an opportunity, you know, to develop some Afghan leadership among, you know, the evacuees and SIVs, and I think there's to have them part of this effort, so it's not just well-intentioned community members and resettlement agencies. I mean, there's some, you know, I've met some formidably talented people who I know, you know, from Afghanistan, who we resettled, who want to help. So
Yeah, I'm hoping that that's the case where most of them know English, because of course we were there 20 years, and you have about a 50% of the population in Kabul that knows English, whether it's broken English or full understandable English. They do have the understanding of it, and of course they use social media, and social media is heavily based English, so they're versed into it, like you said. And yes, of course, we have to get them to step up to the plate and help out as much as they can and what they can do. And they'll understand. For example, I've been disconnected for 40 years from Afghanistan. They will be able to understand some of the protocols and what I would say, the demographic of the folks that are coming in. I can talk to them and pretty much understand what's going on, but I wouldn't have as much of a better understanding of them as they would. So,
And John, we have started contacting our network of friends who can speak Dari, and few folks have already given me their numbers, who are more than willing to support us, and we will continue to expand that list, and we'll share with you guys, and so you guys can follow up with them and list them with KRM for their, so that they could volunteer now and also for future needs.
that would be wonderful.
So John, we are almost I think hitting half an hour. If somebody have any question or comment, please go ahead. Otherwise, we'll wind down the meeting. And John, one thing is that if as soon as you guys start receiving the information, please share it with us and the different ways that how folks can help, and then we will spread the word around. And you could count on the people who are on this call that we all will work with you guys in whatever shape and form we could.
Absolutely, absolutely, Babar. And I didn't want to preempt Maha from KRM as kind of the highlighted speaker. I know she's been working with so many of you. So I don't know, Maha, if there's anything you want to share.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Dr. Babar, for, asking me to be on this call. And actually, it was because of the work of Dr. Babar, Greg Fisher, and Matt Goldberg that I'm able to do this work, because it's really a great, compassionate community. So I just wanted to let you all know, some of you I've worked with, some of you I've talked to, like Assad and Sean this afternoon. Please, if you are thinking of, sponsoring a family or welcoming a family, I feel it's important to welcome these families at the airport arrival if we are given time. This is important just because the family would feel definitely better when they find members from the community welcoming them at the airport. I would love to connect with you if you would like to have a group of you, maybe 4 to 8 people, with someone from, from the group to be the team leader. We can get things working. KRM can find the housing. We can apply for different, for those people who have got benefits, for those who do not have. We do need people to help us with the interpretation and the transportation. If you are interested, please let me know, and I can definitely reach out to you. I know that Assad has expressed that he is free on Wednesdays. if he is informed, like 48 hours. So that is something I really appreciate. And if you would like to buy a warm meal for the family or some groceries, the families can really benefit, because I think the most important items that will be needed by these families when they first arrives are food and clothing. So to have you maybe donate a food card, or even to buy more meals for the family. And if you are interested, I can connect you with the family. We can also visit some of them when it's convenient for you with the interpreter. The important thing for me, and if I can, with your help, if we can connect, maybe 2 or 3 people to a particular family, I think we can give them something. Because to be honest with you, $1,225 will not be enough. They will go for security deposit and 1 month rent. And then what are they going to do? We need to help them. So Dr. Babar made it possible to bring these families all to family community clinic. We have already established a system for that. But I'm thinking, well, these families will come, they will need food, they have been in these military bases, they don't have any clothing, extra clothing. We really need to get something done for them. And so it's better to prepare from now. And I know there are some various groups. The Presbyterian Church is going to, do a coat drive, jackets, blankets, and if we can get also some kitchen stuff, simple things donated. Doesn't have to be, gently used, doesn't have to be new. I'm just trying to think that with every family is different. Every family has a story. Every family needs your help. And you are, as a compassionate partners of KRM, you have worked with us. And I would love for you to volunteer with us and be with us hand in hand. We can do this. As Rabbi Beth said, we can do it. And I would love, and I know that the Jewish community are going also to join, and hopefully we can probably make something interesting. We have also the Baha'i community are stepping in. They are going to sponsor a family. I would love for this interfaith group to just come and be a sponsorship for a particular family. So please feel free, email me, call me. I am always here. I will get your calls, and we will work on getting a system and to welcome all these families coming to Louisville. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And if I could just briefly follow up to a question from Vicky in Shelby County on the chat. She asked if monetary contributions are the most flexible to help at this time. And just to cite an example, Maha mentioned clothing, and we've heard like the folks are sitting on the bases like for over a week with the same clothes they were wearing when they were leaving Afghanistan. But we're at KRM, we're not set up kind of as like a goodwill to, and people bringing us bags of, random clothing and sorting it and washing it and distributing it. But, we've had some of our community volunteers, welcome teams, even with those family members who arrived last week, taking them out to buy clothes. And then if they just, some groups are raising money to support those kind of things that they can directly purchase to meet those basic needs, but not every group has the financial wherewithal, and we're not asking people to pay out of pocket. So if community members, they buy clothes for a family that they're welcoming and give us the receipts, then we can reimburse them out of this, the financial donations, or give them food cards or other things. So that is an efficient way to help us help all of you in the community, help as many people as possible.
Yeah, and John Barber, I think what I would recommend folks is, from our experience, that with monetary, one thing is that with our group and donors, whatever amount we will collect, we would like to spend that through KRM to keep it organized. And if you can utilize towards the rent and other needs, because I have seen in past work with KRM and Catholic Charities that sometimes that the community, the sponsors, and then paying directly to the family, and then there is a lot of confusion that on one hand you guys are trying to support, on other hand private citizens are supporting them directly. So I think to for the needs of rent, the utilities, I think monetarily that's always the best idea is going through the settlement agency, and then the gift card, clothing, utensils, TV, those things we can, the sponsoring group can organize. And also, as Maha was saying, that I think the last refugee which we settled in as interfaith effort was with Jewish community of Louisville, and we will definitely sponsor a couple of families through the interfaith effort as well. In our group, we have already sent out a call for assistance. Many people have approached, and as far as clothing, what I have requested them that if they very gently used or brand new clothes, and if they could just label them with the size, gender, and pack them in separately in zipper bags. So in that way we have it's already organized with the sizes and separately, and then at that point we can contact Maha, and according to the needs of the family we can bring it to the sponsoring group. So I think with people of goodwill that who are on this call, and with City of Compassion, so we will definitely be out there to assist our fellow brothers and sisters. And I will encourage everybody that if you get chance, if you have to be part of a welcoming party being at Louisville Airport, it's a wonderful feeling when you meet them, and when it's on both sides, it's a wonderful experience. So please, if you get chance, please be part of a welcoming group. Thank you. Anybody, any question? Vicky, do you have anything to add?
I believe Sean has a question.
Sean has a question. Okay.
Yes. I'm new to helping out on this scale. We do have a nonprofit inside of our company, and so we do things kind of on a smaller scale. You know, last year was probably the biggest thing we did. We provided about 10,000 meals and safety kind of packages during COVID here for senior citizens in West Louisville, South Louisville, and some other parts. And so I guess I got a question. My phone phased out for just a little bit. But when you talk about the dollars that they're getting, the $1,225, is that per person or per family? Is that something where we need to work to match what they're getting, or?
That's per person. That's per person. Yeah.
Okay. And so I talked with Maya earlier, and one of the things that we can do, again, we can definitely do packages and things like that, care packages of toiletry type of stuff and that type of thing. We have a large network for that. So we'll get that together, and then probably also underclothes types of things, bras, panties, socks, you know, those types of things that we'll work on getting as many as you need. As far as housing, and housing we can help with. We can't give it for free just because of the way our master lease is set up with our building, but we can provide like 2-bedroom, 4-bedroom apartments that are fully furnished. So the only thing we have to do is provide, you know, linen type of thing. All utilities are included, but we can waive like the deposit and first month's rent and things like that I heard you all mention. It's in Louisville. It's not, I think somebody's on the call from Shelbyville and things like that. We don't have access you know, that far out. Everything we have is at 4th and Industrial Industrial Drive, right on the other side of U of L, between U of L and Churchill Downs. But we can definitely help with that, in addition to, you know, trying to get folks jobs.
Well, we'd be very interested. So, you know, Sean, like to talk to you later. And yeah, we're paying market rate rent for
Oh, are
refugees,
you? Wow.
and
Oh my gosh.
and we will be doing the same for these Afghan evacuees. So, you know,
Okay.
that's where most of the 1225 ends up going, kind of rent.
Yeah, that's
G&E.
what I was thinking. Where they're
So,
gonna use for clothes and food. Yeah. And what we can also do, like you said, we can talk later. We can, because we've done this, this is our second year with our master lease, and we've got so many apartments open because the arena football team that we had folded in June. And so they're no longer here. So we have all those apartments that the players, coaches, all those kind of people were in. We could even work it out where they would only have to pay half of the first month's rent, and then they could pay the other half and stuff later. Like the people that are in our program paid half after their first paycheck and then half their second. So they weren't having to come up with the whole rent amount, you know, on the first or by the fifth or whatever time frame. And so we may be able to do that as well, because they're just sitting open. So it's not like we've got a long waiting list and, you know, they're losing money. So we need to fill them anyway. So there may be some ways to work it out.
if you could share your contact phone and email in the chat, we will definitely follow up. That just sounds ideal. And
Yes,
you
sir.
know, Assad and Babar and others can speak to this. I mean, we're getting a lot of random, you know, well-intentioned calls, and they can live in my upstairs bedroom. They can, you know, I want to help these people. They can live in my basement, but we don't do that. We're looking for independent housing, and these are families, some of them professional families, culturally,
Right,
you know,
right.
used
Yeah,
to
and long
privacy,
term.
and
Yes.
and so we're looking for independent, private housing for them. So appreciate it.
Yeah, and I vouch for Sean. I've known her for a long time, and she's a great soul and a great community promoter, and I would say activist in the community that goes out and does a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sean, for your offer of help. So I think we will conclude our meeting if it's okay with everyone, and let's stay in touch, and we will share the information out as we will get with the networks, and we all are interconnected with KRM. So thank you, Maha and John, for spending your evening with us, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, Babar, for bringing everyone together, all of us together, and all that you do. So thanks to everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Have a good